Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing some longer-term technical analysis because today's video, I want to zoom out and not do so much focusing on the shorter-term price action, but instead, I want to zoom out and compile all of the long-term bullish fundamentals that I have found into one video to remind you guys about just how bullish the future for Bitcoin is. There are a lot of people that are getting bearish on our favorite cryptocurrency, and I don't like seeing that happen when the future for Bitcoin, quite frankly, looks so bright. We're going to be going over something called miner capitulation. We have some news coming out of China. We need to look at Google Trends on Bitcoin. I want to look at stock to flow. I want to look at ICE. I want to look at the shorts and the longs chart, guys. We have a lot to cover in today's video, and I think you're going to really enjoy today's video. So if you do consider hitting that like button down below. And also, guys, remember, tomorrow is the second birthday of the Crypto Jeb YouTube channel, and a new product is going to be launching that I think you guys are going to absolutely love. It'll be called the First Cohort. Some of you guys have been hearing about that for months now. It has certainly been in the works for quite some time, and along with the launch of First Cohort, you guys are going to be getting a face reveal. So I'm a little nervous for that, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully you guys don't think I'm too ugly, but that'll be coming out tomorrow. Without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's video. Guys, the first thing I want to do is zoom down here to the hourly chart real quick, just to show that there's not a whole lot going on. Bitcoin did have a small little retracement again last night, fell below our downtrend of support, and bounced once again. Not a whole lot going on Bitcoin. I could try and fill a video with short-term technical analysis, but frankly, I think it's far more important that you guys see what I'm going to be discussing in this video. Because as you guys will well know, Bitcoin has been around for over 10 years now. Its decade birthday was January 3rd of this year. We're coming up on 11 years old, guys. Bitcoin's about to go into middle school. I know, it's crazy. And to start the video off with, I want to remind you of one of the reasons that Bitcoin is worth so much money. I was talking about this with a friend of mine who's trying to get involved in cryptocurrencies yesterday. Yes, I'm doing my job to recruit people also. Hopefully you are too. And I was telling him about one of the reasons that Bitcoin has such high price targets. A big part of the reason for that is the circulating supply for Bitcoin. As you can see here on CoinMarketCap, over 18 million of the Bitcoin that will ever exist have been mined. As you guys know, the permanent market capitalization for Bitcoin, the supply cap as it is sometimes called, is 21 million. The last Bitcoin will be mined in 2140, somewhere around there. That basically means that Bitcoin is either non-inflationary anymore because people are losing Bitcoin all the time, or Bitcoin's actually already, only 10 years after its creation, a deflationary currency. Because yes, more Bitcoin are being mined, but Bitcoin are being lost all the time, and we have a halving coming up in about 6 months. The reason that's important, guys, is because Bitcoin, just like anything else, follows a supply and demand model. One of the reasons that currencies hyperinflate, like in Zimbabwe or Venezuela or Germany before World War II, is because the supply goes up and up and up and up and up, and it runs away as the government starts printing more and more and more and more money. The main reason, in my opinion, and yes, I'm saying the main reason that Bitcoin is so important for the future of the global economy is because of one thing. And that's because only 21 million Bitcoin can ever exist. That's the big reason why Bitcoin is such a big deal, because we can't hyperinflate Bitcoin. It just can't happen. It's not coded into the blockchain that would ever be allowed. And when you take that into consideration, that starts laying the foundation for $100,000 Bitcoins, $1 million Bitcoins, maybe 50 years from now, even a $10 million Bitcoin. Those price targets are actually realistic. Even if you assume no inflation on the US dollars and $10 million in 50 years is the same $10 million as it is today. Of course, US dollar inflation is going to drive Bitcoin up, but nevertheless. Let's start diving into some of this news because, like I said, there's a lot that we need to cover here. Bitcoin bull runaway is preceded by 3 major phases of miner capitulation. This is a very, very bullish article. It takes a little bit of reading to understand it. So much so, in fact, that I'm going to link this article in the description down below. A lot of times I don't do that, but it will be in the description so that you can read through this. This is really important. This article is essentially about a complex relationship between the difficulty for Bitcoin's mining, the hash rate, and the price action. And it all comes together in this chart right here. As you can see, the market tends to go through about 3 phases, and for the sake of simplicity and the length of this video, I'm not going to get into exactly how these phases are calculated. Like I said, please read the article down below. It's really interesting. But after these 3 phases, Bitcoin moons and goes up to a new all-time high. As you can see, right after our green phase over here, Bitcoin went all the way to $20,000. We're in this phase right here. We're in the second phase. I'm going to use numbers instead of colors because I am colorblind, and to me, both of these colors look identical. Feel free to laugh about me in the comment section down below. Yes, my genetics kind of screwed me over there. But nevertheless, this is an important article and one that you need to read. In fact, I would say this is one of the most bullish articles that I've read in quite some time. I've told you guys so many times that markets are cyclical, and the difficulty for Bitcoin mining is another one of those cycles, and those are cycles that control Bitcoin's price action that are underlying. They don't show up on the chart, but they are nevertheless very important. So please, for the 14th time, read that article down below. Anyway, moving on here, this is another interesting topic that I want to talk about. China's military press suggests using cryptocurrency to reward soldiers. And guys, this is a really big big deal, actually, because as you may or may not know, China has one of the largest standing militaries on planet Earth. Many millions of men comprise that military. China has been becoming increasingly bullish on Bitcoin in previous months. As we know, Bitcoin's major jump here on October 25th was as a result of President Xi Jinping talking bullish about blockchain. Then there was some more news coming out of China about a state-sponsored cryptocurrency that could be launching within the next 3 months. And all of a sudden, guys, China starts getting really bullish on Bitcoin. And while I'm not the biggest fan of China having all of the benefits that Bitcoin brings, I am excited to see one of the power players on planet Earth adopting Bitcoin and cryptocurrency technology and getting excited about it. Excuse me, not adopting Bitcoin because of course Bitcoin would be difficult for China to monitor, but adopting Bitcoin and cryptocurrency technology. That's going to really start pushing the rest of the world because as you guys know, China and a big part of the world are kind of at odds with each other. And I don't think the United States would want to get left behind in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space while China is reaping the rewards. So I see nothing but bullish signs when I start reading a story like this, where PLA Daily explains to award or deduct tokens accordingly to one's daily performance and thus generate an objective assessment would effectively energize the human resource management, blah, 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 yada, 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 authoritarian rabble. Point being, China is moving closer to mass cryptocurrency adoption, a country that has about 1/6 of Earth's population in it. Big deal, guys. Don't underestimate this. Moving forward, guys, I also want to go to Google Trends, like I said, and look at the search term Bitcoin and compare it to where it was a little over 2 years ago. Let's look at the past 5 years, and you're going to notice something. You're going to notice that there was a whole lot of interest for Bitcoin back in 2017, leading up to the $20,000 Bitcoin. As you guys will remember, at the end of 2017, there was a ridiculous amount of retail interest in Bitcoin. Unfortunately, a lot of that retail interest was not actually investing in Bitcoin. Quite a bit was, but not all of it. There was a lot that was left untapped. In our recent run up to $14,000, Bitcoin only went to 23% of the search volume that Bitcoin had gone to at the end of 2017, while moving over half of the way back to $20,000. So we had less than a quarter of the search volume and moved over half of the way back to that all-time high. That tells me something, guys. That tells me if there's more money in the market right now that does not have to do with outside factors. It tells me that more people that are dedicated to the cryptocurrency space and hodling Bitcoin are pumping up the market capitalization, which means in the future, when Bitcoin does start going on another bull run, the cap for how high Bitcoin could go is far greater. If Bitcoin went to $14,000 on 23% of the interest, if we multiply 23 by 4, you get roughly 100. You multiply 14 by 4 and you get roughly $60,000. Is that a valid way of doing technical analysis? By no means, but it's probably somewhere in the ballpark of what we could expect. We're talking about $100,000 to $200,000 Bitcoin here. I could definitely see Bitcoin going to 60 in the next 2 years. This is really important. Don't underestimate this, guys. I'm packing this video with all of the most important fundamentals. Another thing we have to talk about here, guys, is stock to flow. And stock to flow gives us two pieces of information that are really interesting. One, it explains why Bitcoin is having such a hard time getting back to all-time high. And two, it makes a prediction. It makes a prediction of 100 grand Bitcoin in the early 2020s. I simply don't have time to get in too much detail about how stock to flow is calculated, but it has to do with the amount of a commodity in circulation and the speed with which that commodity is produced. Since we have a halving coming up in May of next year, the production of Bitcoin is going to cut in half, hence the name halving, and when that happens, the stock to flow ratio jumps significantly. We're talking an order of magnitude here, guys, from a prediction sitting around $10,000 to over 100. And guys, I don't know about you, but this chart alone looks like it's a very good predictor of Bitcoin's price action, and if you do the research on it, stock to flow is actually one of the greatest predictors for Bitcoin price action that there is, going off of historical data. I think it very likely that we see a $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2022 or 2023 at the very latest. And finally, guys, there's one more elephant in the room that we need to talk about. Bakkt. Guys, we've been waiting for Bakkt to launch for a year now. This was announced last August, not this August, last August. Bakkt doesn't have a ridiculous amount of volume right now, but it is still moving in the right direction, guys. There's 450 contracts with very low volatility, very low interest in the market right now, compared to when it launched 2 months ago and there were only like 50 contracts. Both of those numbers are very small in the grand scheme of things, but the difference between them is pretty staggering considering how short of a time period it's been since the launch of Bakkt. And guys, as we've said, one of the big reasons why Bakkt is such a big deal is not only because of Bakkt, it's because of what it represents, it's because of the precedent, it's because of the feeling of safety that it's going to give the IRS, the SEC, the CFTC, and all these other regulatory bodies whose opinion matters very much in the mass adoption of Bitcoin. Is a small step for Intercontinental Exchange, but one giant leap for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market as it relates to the regulatory landscape, as well as adoption, by the way. So guys, those are some of the fundamentals that I'm looking at. Right now, Bitcoin isn't doing a whole lot of interest on the the short-term time frames. I will do some more analysis on the short-term time frames if you guys would like me to. But I'll be honest with you guys, right now I'm moving more back to my investing side of my own personality because Bitcoin isn't doing much on the short-term time frames. There's definitely money to be made down there, but right now I'm more interested in stepping back, studying the long term, and making sure that my predictions are right, or at least in the right direction for the next 2 or 3 years. And so far, I think they most certainly are. I've never seen Bitcoin as fundamentally bullish as it is today, and I personally think there's very few reasons to believe that Bitcoin would not go to $100,000 moving into the 2020s. It's going to take time, guys. No one ever said this was going to happen overnight. Bitcoin's been around for 10 years. Rome wasn't built in a day. Every single overnight success story was preceded by a decade of hard work. It takes time. But let me tell you guys something from experience. When you give something that has potential enough time, you are oftentimes going to be rewarded by it. I've learned that in life, and that's a very valuable lesson. Bitcoin is no different. Give it time, remember your analysis, and remember why you're in the market. Are you in the market to make money today or tomorrow? Or are you in the market to make money to last a lifetime? That's the question you have to ask yourself. If you're trying to get rich quick, guys, go find yourself a Ponzi scheme. You will get rich quick. Bitcoin is not about getting rich quick. That's a massive misconception in this market. Please don't get caught up in that. But anyway, guys, this is the last time you're going to hear my voice without a face cam down here, I think. I'm going to put the face cam down here. So that's a big change, one that I've been kind of looking forward to, but also kind of dreading for the last couple of years that we've been doing YouTube. I can't believe we've been on the platform for 2 years, guys. The first video on this channel went up 2 years ago, and that just blows my mind, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. I remember where I was 2 years ago today, and it wasn't a good place. A lot has changed. A lot can change in 2 years. Give Bitcoin 2 years, and it'll surprise you. I've been through a lot in the last 2 years I've been in the market. But anyway, guys, I could ramble on and get all mushy on you and everything, but I'm going to go ahead and not do that. Instead, I'm going to wrap the video up here. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, tell us in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your take on all of this. And also, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like. I would be very appreciative if you did that. That'll get the video out to more people, spread the word of Bitcoin, and hopefully have some people that were thinking about leaving Bitcoin, not do that. But anyway, guys, like I said, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.